Hi, sister.
Hi, Seesters.
Welcome to the Realm Talk podcast. We are so excited for our very first intro episode. My name is Aleeah.
My name is Geneva, and I am extremely excited. It's Geneva with an apostrophe because I'm fancy like that.
Je,
Je-
Geneva. It is French. So we have decided to start this podcast as sisters who love anything and everything to do with fantasy and books and novels and all of those
Movies, TV
movies.
shows,
Exactly.
anime.
Yes. And this year, I personally had like a resolution that I wanted to um, read more books. I reread Harry Potter. As you can see, I'm a proud Gryffindor, always. Um, I reread Harry Potter all the time. I'll just get bored. I'll start to read a new book, and then I'm like, I'm actually going to go back to Harry Potter. And I decided I want to actually find a book to read that's good. And I love fantasy. So that's kind of where that started. And I picked up the first book that was on the number one New York Times bestseller, which happened to be Fourth Wing, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah,
Let's get to it.
why
Let's
not?
go. And I found my joy and my love for fantasy all over again. And who better to do a podcast to talk about all the things that I love about fantasy than my sister?
And she recommended it to me and was like, I want to do a podcast on fantasy. You need to read this book. And I was like, okay, because even though I'm the oldest, I don't act like it. I just do what I'm told. So I read the book in 2 days and I loved it so much. There are some things that I maybe didn't particularly care for with the book, but it wasn't enough to completely overshadow um, how much I enjoyed it.
My sister, Geneva, is super supportive. We started out like you got me into anime watching Toonami on Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network,
And it was
Tsunami.
just kind of like a way to bond for me with my sister because I wasn't into anime. I didn't really know what she was watching, but it was something that interested her.
Inuyasha.
And she showed me an episode of Inuyasha, and I think it was the episode where Ryukotse. I think it was that battle of the Ryukotse battle.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good
Yeah,
one.
and it was just a battlefield episode. There was like like a slight bit of romance with Inuyasha and Kagome, and like that's really all it takes for me to be interested in something. And it was good. And so every was it Saturday? We would watch.
I think when did new episodes? I don't remember what day new episodes dropped,
I
but
feel like it
yeah.
was Saturday, but we would record them. Remember, we would record the Inuyasha episodes so that we could watch them over and over
Hmm.
again. And so that's really where it started. And then from there, um, I just I think I was like 10 or 12, and I just started writing fan fiction. I discovered we had a computer upstairs and we could write. We were very creative. Our parents gave us like all kinds of the opportunity to be creative. And I wrote fan fiction, Inuyasha fan fiction, which then turned into Harry Potter fan fiction. And it's a great community.
I've always loved anime. Inuyasha, Cowboy Bebop's actually my favorite, even though technically it's not a fantasy, but that's my favorite anime of all time. I have a decal on my car for it. Um, but yeah, that was a big bonding thing for us. I even got her into like playing video games. We played Kingdom Hearts together. It's the only video game we ever played together. And,
Yes.
um, but yeah, so basically, we are just here to share our love of all things fantasy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm beyond excited. We've been talking about this for a little over just about a month, right?
Yep.
Just about a month. Yeah. So we got our equipment. We had some technical difficulties, but it wouldn't be real if we didn't have technical difficulties. We wouldn't
Right.
be legit. So
just a little bit about myself. I'm an actor. I live in Los Angeles. I've been acting since 10 years or so now. Um, I'm not going to be weird and tell you guys what I've been in. It's out there on the internet if you're interested. But this podcast is specifically to talk about the things that I love doing, which is fantasy books, novels, TV shows, anything that goes into that realm. And it's a wonderful time for me to bond with my sister. And Je'Nieve, I think that you should talk about your hint, creative writing that I have been pushing for like our whole lives. So,
okay, so a little bit about myself. I live in Houston. Um, I am a writer by trade. I write poetry. I also write short stories on occasion. I did fan fiction for a while as well. And I'm not gonna lie, my fan fiction was pretty popular. Not to brag. But
was
what else? Yeah, I love to write. I'm in school actually to get my degree in English and creative writing. I actually left nursing school to pursue that because that's how passionate I am about it. What I'm going to do with the degree when I'm done, I have no idea. But I just know that it's what I'm passionate about. And if I'm going to get a degree in something, then I want it to be something that I know that I enjoy. And I'm having a great time getting it. I'm really enjoying going and reading all the books and doing all the things. And it's just, I just feel like something else awakened in me
mm.
once I decided to do it. And I haven't looked back. I don't regret quitting nursing school at all. Like not even a little bit. So I don't even wonder like what would have happened if I would have, I don't even care. So I also enjoy reading smut. Um, I am a slut for smut. So, I love smut. I'm actually reading 3 smut books right now, like in rotation. I'm just flip flopping between all 3 of them, and I love it. It's so great. It's a great way to relax in the evening with a glass of wine and just read smut.
Have you is this your first time foraying into smut, or you've read smut previously and you're just like picking it back up?
I'm picking it back up. I don't know if you remember when we were in high school and people were passing around the Zane books.
Oh my God, that was a thing.
That was a
That was a
thing. So
thing.
yeah, we were like 15 and 16-year-old reading like soft core porn.
We were.
And
We
and so
were.
like, but I didn't really get into it again after that. I kind of like meh. It was
Yeah.
just like a
It was a
moment in my
phase. It was a
life.
thing.
It was a
Yeah.
phase. Like everybody, like all the girls were doing it. We were all
Hmm.
doing it.
We were all reading
We were all
smut.
reading
I
smut.
don't think we knew what we were reading.
We didn't.
Yeah, like I don't think that I knew. I was in high school. Everyone was like reading them. And I enjoy smut, but I need more of a plot. So it has to be a good plot. Like I can't just be like mindless smut for me. A couple of the books that I've read like a couple of Karen Slaughter books, and she will have like it's a mystery book which I enjoy, but she will also include like just a little bit of chapters. There's an underlying romance story. If anyone watches Will Trent on NBC, that's the author that does this whole series that I've read. I don't watch the show, but I like the books. That's just a personal preference for the show, but I'm sure it's great. Um, the books are really what I enjoy, and so that's like kind of like as much as I've gotten into. Fourth Wing rocked me because I don't normally like I haven't read anything since high school, so I don't really remember. So when I didn't know Fourth Wing was going to have that. It was a #1 New York Times bestseller. I didn't know what to expect.
So was 50 Shades of Grey.
That's true. That's true. And I did read 50 Shades just like everyone else. It was that came from fan fiction. If you remember back in the fan fiction days, it used to be called lemons whenever there was a spicy scene, which is what all
Mm-hmm.
book talk calls them. They used to call them lemons back then. And so, yes, there was lots of stories with lots of lemons in them. And yeah, 50 Shades is a fan fiction of Twilight, if no one is aware of that. So it was an interesting story. I watched the movie, but Fourth Wing definitely opened my eyes up to smut. And I think once you get into your 30s, you know,
I
you just
wouldn't
kind of
really call Fourth Wings smutty. Maybe just like
Give us a spice level rating. Give us out of
1.
5 spices. 1.
1.
Okay, well, she's deep into the
One and a
smut.
half.
She's deep into the smut level for me. I would give it 3
Girl,
spicy
3
stars.
spices.
3 spices for me. Um, it made me blush. It made me put the book down. I was like, "Child, Zayden."
I was like,
I had to take a deep breath.
Zaddy Zayden doing it again.
Zaddy, Zayden. My goodness. Okay, so let's talk about the fourth wing.
Yeah,
We
let's
kind of
dive
did
into
our
it. So, let's go ahead and start off with what we rated, our own personal ratings for the books, what we liked, what we necessarily didn't like. We're going to start with Fourth Wing. We did read both Fourth Wing and Iron Wing. I mean, sorry, Iron
flame.
Flame. We did read both, but for the sake of time and for the sake of staying on task, we're just going to focus on Fourth Wing for the moment.
Yes. So fourth wing. I gave this an overall. Just go straight to my rating. I gave it a 9 out of 10, which is pretty high for me. Why did I love it? I can break it down by like a couple of things. My pros are like the romance, the characters, like just everyone just being different, um, and Zayden. I I don't think that I've ever fallen in love with a fictional character before, but Zayden is pretty close to like that. Like, am I okay? Is everything all right upstairs? Like, he's not real, but in my mind, he's real.
He's there.
He exists, and there's just something about Zayden that I just like, a book character that I will never forget, and he is just like 6'4" and dark and handsome and a chiseled jaw and doesn't give a fuck. And
There's nothing like male characters written by women that just make you go, oh,
I
why
mean,
can't they be real?
why can't they be real? Why can't they be like possessive, but also understand, like, to let me be who I am and not be toxic, but like be kind of toxic? But like it's a fine, thin line of like, what we look for, but like not too much that you like become a possessive, crazy person. And yeah, I mean,
Just a
but
sprinkle of toxicity,
just a sprinkle, just a
a little
little
razzle
bit of
dazzle.
possessiveness. Yeah. Yes. So tell
Okay.
me your sister.
So for Fourth Wing, I feel like I rated it an 8.5. I would give it either a solid 8 or an 8.5. I'll go into the cons later of why I rated it that. I did enjoy it. It felt really good to be really immersed in a world with dragons and all kinds of things. And I haven't felt that way since Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones really let me down. And
It's still a sore wound.
I know it's
Oh,
still open and festering.
it is.
But it was so nice to go back to a world that had dragons and the romance and the battle scenes and the friendships, and just it was such a fast-paced novel
Mm-hmm.
that I was able to read it that fast and still retain everything.
Yeah.
I didn't really have to go back and reread as I was reading to make sure that I didn't miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way the characters were introduced into the series. I also did enjoy, the wide array of different types of people. Not necessarily what everyone looks like, but also who everyone is,
Mm-hmm.
as far as disabilities, sexual orientation, gender identity, little things like that. And it seemed to be done very seamless to me, where it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like, hey, everybody, guess what? It was kind of just like, oh, by the way, she's deaf. But it wasn't like, hey, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It was done very like, she signed. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's cool. And I was able to move on with my life. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that. I love the world building. I'm very fascinated with this world. I'm very intrigued by it, because when Game of Thrones was still on TV, my sister and I were like borderline obsessive over that, and we
Yep.
literally went to like the Game of Thrones wiki and we would just like research the world.
Yep. Yep.
And
No shame.
no
None.
shame. And like, I can't wait till this book series gets to that point because I want to know everything there is to know about this continent.
Yep.
I want to know. I want to know about all the dragons. I want to know about the continent. I want to know about all the provinces. I want to know about the history. Like, I want to know everything. And I haven't read something in a while that did that to me. Granted, it's been a really long time since I've read for fun because I've also been in school for so long. And reading academically can drain you. So I didn't really feel like I had the energy or the time to really focus on reading for fun. But I'm glad that I'm picking it up again. It's such a nice hobby. My other pro is the romance. I love a good romance. I love a good unattainable, unreal romance. And
That's what this is.
that's exactly what this is. I live for it. My husband was I was explaining to my husband like how they communicate like telepathically, and he's just like, get me a sandwich. And I wanted to punch him in the face. But like, I'm like, you're ruining it. It's romantic. And I'm just like, meh.
Yes.
And the spice. I enjoyed the spice a lot. I feel like the spice it didn't take the book over. It was relevant when it happened. It didn't feel out of place. The spice didn't feel forced. It felt like it belonged in the spots where it happened. And I really like that because as much as I love smut, I don't like smut without a reason. Granted, I do read smut books, but I still like to have a plot and a story. Like, I don't want to literally just sit there, open the book, and it's just 500 pages of porn. Like, I need like I want a plot, I want a story, I want character development. I still want those things.
Yeah.
And it was just it was surprising to see because I was not expecting it in the book like at all. But when it happened, I was like, oh, okay. Hi,
Yeah.
Zaddy.
Yeah. Whoa. It's like where is this guy that just knows exactly what to do? I mean, he knows how to
I know.
use his
Clutch my
fingers.
pearls.
He knows how to use everything.
I can't remember the last time a guy properly used fingers.
I know. I was just like, these men don't exist. If you think about it, like
They don't
when
even trim
you're
their damn nails.
no, they don't trim their nails. They don't wash their hands. Like, you know, let those claws near me.
Scratching
But
up my meat.
I mean, I'm screaming. But yes, essentially, like if you ever had some experience in high school where some guy is using his fingers, it's most likely, if you're from a female perspective, they have no idea what they're doing and it's horrible. And so, of course, in this book written by a woman, Zaddy Zayden knows exactly what to do with his hands.
His clean hands.
His clean hands. I loved everything that you said. Like with all like the different characters, one of my favorite characters is Riddick. And I love him. He's so funny. It's also like him being bisexual is not a thing. I think that men don't get the chance to be bisexual in our society. It's like one or the other. Like you're gay or whatever. I love that it's just like he's with this person and he's with this person and he's doing whatever he feels like doing today and no one fucking cares. No one fucking cares.
No one cares.
And same with Rhiannon or Rhiannon, however you say it. But same way. She hooked up with like Sawyer, then she hooked up with like Charles like her long time. Then she's like gawking at like she just loves whatever gives her attention. And I like that. Like where people can just enjoy whatever they want to enjoy without judgment. So so should we get into the cons?
Yes, let's get into the cons.
As a person who reads Harry Potter religiously and other books, I do not like first person narration. It's not a thing that I like. When I opened the book and I started reading it, I was like, it feels very childish to me and it's just not my personal preference. However, once I got into the book, it's like normal to me now and it's fine, but it's not personally the way that I like books to be read. I like third person narratives because it creates like a third person narration, but like from one point of view. If you read like George R. R. Martin, he has different points of view from each of the different characters, Sansa, Bronn, Arya, but it's still in that third person narration. So you're still able to kind of see everything, and it really helps build the world a little bit more. It's just a little bit difficult with the first person narration. Not horrible, but fine. Also, the action sequences specifically were really hard for me to picture. Well, one specifically was the gauntlet. Like, I don't know if anybody is able to like draw what the fuck the gauntlet is supposed to look like, because I can't. I'm like, there's like balls hanging at one point, and then there's like a cliff thingy, and then they've got to jump up this little thingy, and like I can't see it. Like I can't. It's like it doesn't form
Okay.
in my mind. Yeah, I can't. Like, it doesn't form in my mind what this looks like, and so that was just like a little tricky. The battle at the end of the series was perfect for me. I was able to picture everything that was going on, but they're also like in the air, and there's not really any like stuff that they need to show. But the gauntlet scene was really tricky for me to pick that up on. Yeah, I think that those were my two main cons.
Cons, coming from someone who also writes. I'm joking. I have not published anything. So
You will
um,
soon.
I
Yet.
did
Have not
find
published anything
it
yet.
yet. I did find it very cliche. Um, I as soon as she saw Zayden, I was like, there's a love interest.
Mm-hmm.
It was very predictable in that fact for me. It wasn't predictable to the point where I was like, close the book. It was just like, oh, there's a love interest. And then like, he's so freaking hot. I'm just like, but
Oh, you hate that? You
I
hate that?
hate
You hate
that.
it hot?
Like,
It's so
you're not
hot.
16, girl. Like, come
Yeah.
on. But
Mm.
anyways, I digress. It wasn't enough for me to be like, I can't finish this book. But it was very cliche. There were moments where I felt it was predictable because of the clichéness, especially when the romance came, well, how the romance went. I didn't, at first I thought it was going to be like, you have to choose kind of with Dane and Zayden. But
Oh,
then
okay, with Dane.
once I got to a certain point, I was like, oh no, this isn't make you choose. This is like end game kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, but I did enjoy that. The first person narration also got to me as well because for the same reasons Aleeah stated, my sister stated. I'm not even going to repeat them. Just copy paste. um, and another gripe that I have is while I do enjoy the diversity, I do feel that the descriptions of the characters are vague in the sense where we are seeing fan fiction where everybody's white.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but that's not. But then when you go back and look at the descriptions of some of the characters, it's vague. It's not literally written in black and white. Like Zayden has tawny skin, but tawny skin is on a scale.
Mm.
So are we talking about like a white guy with a tan, or
Mm-hmm.
are we talking about someone that's my color or a little bit
Mm.
darker than me? Like, what are we talking? Because I keep seeing white Zaydens, and that's not what I have in
All
my
I
head.
see is white Zayden's, and I'm like,
I
no.
Yeah, no. Like, in my mind, Zayden is like either Middle Eastern, like a Middle Eastern look, because yes.
Yes, Zayden in my head, he's
Or
like,
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just touching on the like, yeah, Zayden in my head is like either Middle Eastern or he's like biracial, but I'm talking like Barack Obama biracial. You know, like Barack's mom is white, his dad is black, like that tone of skin, like that like bronzy brown,
Mm-hmm.
actual bronze, like when you think of a metal, like
Yeah,
bronze colored skin,
yeah.
almost like Indian. I would be okay with like a darker skinned Indian. Their skin can be very bronze. That's what I think of. And I think Bodhi, which is his cousin, I think that is a South Asian name. Bodhi. So
Um,
I wouldn't mind if he was in that realm.
I
Go
wouldn't
ahead.
either. Those men are delicious.
Um, Iron Flame, I personally really liked it. I still have a book hangover at this point. It's really hard for me to move on from the Empyrean series. I've got my sister on it. I got my friends on it. Like everyone that I know is possibly reading this so that I can constantly talk about it because
Read it
it's
for me.
yeah, it's yeah. Read it for me. Let's talk about it. So our goals and what we want to do with this podcast, this is our intro episode, is we are going to do a deep dive into Fourth Wing. We're not going to do chapter by chapter, but we're going to do like a group of chapters, S by chapters. And then we'll move on into Iron Flame. And by the time we're done with that, it should be right in time for drum rolls, Seester.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon
I'm gonna
should
shake
be
my titties.
returning. Shall be returning in the summer. And as we said, this is realm talk, fantasy across all fantasy realms. So we are super excited to talk about the House of the Dragon. We are big Game of Thrones fans.
We
I
will
read the
be
books.
doing a first season recap episode where we're just gonna sit down and just break down the episodes very quickly. Okay, this is what happened episode 1, 2, or this is what happened, like the most important things that happened throughout season 1.
Mm,
We're going to do a recap of that probably maybe a week or two before the first episode of season 2 drops.
yeah.
But I cannot wait. Cannot
Yeah.
wait. That gives me a reason to rewatch it, honestly. So
Yes. Yes, we are so excited. We were both like, we had like with my old coworkers, I think it's back in 2014, we watched the season 4 of Game of Thrones finale with all of our friends, and we had
yes.
like pigeon pie, and we had Cersei wine, and we had all of these cool things. We had this like a cool little party to watch the finale, and it's just great when you like watching Game of Thrones with the world with our friends. Like it was just such a great experience, and I'm like happy we have House of the Dragon to do that. And
Yeah.
so that's one of the things that we are really looking forward to once we get through Fourth Wing, and then something will come after that next. Maybe we'll pick up another fantasy series.
Oh, you remember when it was season 4 and we went to the movie theater to go see it?
Yes.
It was the last 2
Yes.
episodes.
Yes.
Everybody had on like their shirts. I had on the North Remembers.
And I had on like a Star Wars like type of style
Oh, I remember
shirt.
that shirt.
Yeah, and I think I have it. I'll wear it in the episode when we recap, or maybe sooner than that. But it's like Daenerys, and she has a sword up, and then like Jon is there, and she has her dragons, and it is a cool shirt.
I remember that shirt.
Big.
Was that my shirt?
It might have been. You might have given it to me.
I think I gave it to you. I think I got it in one of those like nerd boxes that I used to get.
Yeah.
I used to get a bunch of like nerd shirts in those boxes.
Yeah, it's so funny. These nerd boxes. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. As far as the immediate future and what we're doing with Rebecca Yarros, you can expect us at Fourth Wing and Rebecca Yarros. You can expect us to do like chapter by chapter, but we also want to have like deep dive episodes about specific characters, our favorite characters. We're going to do something where we round out each of the episodes and we talk about our character of the week or our moment of the week or our favorite line of the week. Yeah. We are I'm looking forward to deep diving into this. I have reread the series twice now. I'm on my second reread of Iron Flame. So I'm starting to pick up things. We have so many different theories that we're going to go into. Should we touch on a couple of the top theories that we're going to be talking about?
I mean, why not?
I feel like we should.
Yeah. We should. We totally should.
Okay, so some of the theories that we're going to talk about is what the hell is Violet's second signet?
Xaden's second signet blew me away. I'm sorry.
I
I know
know.
we're still talking about Fourth Wing, but I had to put
It's
that in there.
okay. This is spoilers if you have not finished Iron Flame.
Oh, we probably should did that in the beginning.
Yeah, probably, but
By
we'll
the
put it in the show
way,
notes. But yes, um, Zaddy Zayden's second signet being him being an intensic or a mind reader blew me away. I mean,
but it
I
makes so much sense.
so much sense.
Makes so much
So
sense.
much sense. So it makes like when she started to lay out what it was, I'm starting to do that for Violet. Rebecca Yarros said in an interview that Violet's second signet is manifesting an iron flame, and you'll be able to figure out what it is if you pay attention. So I have been paying attention. So we'll be
Taking
discussing
notes.
the theories that I have for Violet's second signet, along with everything that's on like Reddit and Book Talk and everything that everyone else is talking about. Another one is like just talking about Andarna, like everything about her, like everything. I mean, everything happens so quickly in the second book. There's so much to unpack there, and all of our different theories on that. Um, Nalwyn, Taryn's first writer and the
Yes.
person who saved Brennan. I have
Yes.
so many
Theories.
theories. So
So many
many
delicious
theories.
theories.
Yes, about Nowlin and his purpose. Um, Jack fucking Barlow. I
Jack
forgot to
fucking
mention that was
Barlow.
one of my cons, but
How can a
yeah,
character be a con?
he's a fucking con. When you talked about like cliche things, like I don't mind the enemies to lovers. I don't
Oh no, I
mind
love
the
that. I love
yeah, I
it.
love like those kind of tropes. Like some of the things that are very nostalgic to me that I enjoy reading, which is why I think Fourth Wing and the series is so popular because people
It's
initially said that it
comforting.
was yeah, it's comforting. Like it's really comforting. It brings you back at school. It's being young. They're not super young, but they're like in their early 20s. They're like trying to save the world. Like it's kind of giving Hunger Games and college like Harry Potter and like all of Divergent, like all of these like factions, like
Mm-hmm.
all of these different things. It's all mashed into one. So it is very, 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 very comforting. I
But
forgot
people
my
also have to keep in mind that this isn't going to go down in like literary history as one of the best written books of all time.
yes.
Because I did find some things kind of like, ugh, but I still enjoyed it. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to enjoy things.
Yes. Tell that to Book Talk.
I know
They
you don't have to
are
pick apart everything. Like let people enjoy things.
yes. Like you may not like it. You may not like for whatever your many reasons are, but a lot of people enjoy it and it's fine. Like I enjoyed it. It makes me excited. Like some of the things that I'm excited to dive in, the gods, like the cherished
Yes, the
different
gods.
culture, just
Yes.
like the different colleges at Bagscaith or Bascaith. These names are going to be the death of me. So I just want everyone to
We
know
were
until
supposed to actually look up how to properly say them and we forgot. So
we'll
we
do that
do
episode one.
apologize in advance. But come the official episode 1, we will be pronouncing names correctly.
Yes. Yes, we will. But yes, all of like the different dragons, all of the kinds, all of the signets. Like I want to dive into all the different signets that everyone
Hmm.
has and how amazing it is that all of the marked ones have the best fucking signets.
They really do.
Like
And
Emojin, badass.
badass. And like I think it's interesting that instead of having like a true magic system,
Mm.
she calls it signets, but it's really a
Mhm.
magic system.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I haven't really found any holes in the magic system yet because it's not literal magic to where there's
Yeah.
spells being cast and things like that. But it is
Yeah.
still a magic system. And I
Mhm.
enjoy that.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah, I think those are some of the main like
Yeah, we have
theories
three
that we're going
pages
to
of
talk.
theories, so we're not going to go
Yeah,
over
it's
it.
very very long and I'm not going to go through all of them, but we have a lot of different things to talk about. It's going to get really exciting, so we hope that podcast is enjoyable for people who just have a book hangover like me. It's the whole fucking reason why I did this. I mean, I was halfway through and I knew I wanted to like talk about it, But then once I like finished, I was just like,
I must tell the world.
I must tell the world. I must talk about this. And who better to do that with than my
I must
sister?
tell my people the news.
Must tell them all. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our very first episode of Realm Talk. My name is Aleeah.
And I'm Je'Nieve. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. And we are so excited to do our deep dive into Fourth Wing.
Yes. Until next time, we'll see you across the fantasy realms of entertainment.
Bye.
Bye.